and die not except in the state of Imam. I recite this verse often only to bring this to our conscience that what is the purpose of taqwa? Why taqwa is so much emphasizing our deen? What is really taqwa means, Ya Imam? The question is very legitimate. The taqwa, loosely translated, would be God consciousness, being aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anytime, wherever a thought crosses your mind, you want to be able to ask whether it be okay with Allah or not. Any action, anything that you want to get yourself involved, you want to be able to ask whether Allah will approve of this or not. And if answer to this is yes, then you go ahead and do it. And if answer to that is that no, that Allah and Rasulullah may not approve of this, you run away from it and you shy away from it if you so desire to be successful in this category aspect. So, having said this, I'd like to take this opportunity to be here at this masjid, mashallah, tabarakallah, newly purchased church and the building where we'll be having American Leadership Academy. Great vision, great desire, great initiative. Not the first place to do. We have had these institutions elsewhere running very successfully as well. All of these things will bear fruit, will be very productive and very rewarding and transforming indeed, as long as it is done khalisatan liwajhillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khalis for Allah and Allah alone. And with God consciousness, that when you undertake such projects, you do so for the pleasure of Allah and Allah alone. And when you do this, no matter how small or humble it may seem in the beginning, and no matter how difficult or how impossible it may seem at times, rest assured, as long as it is for the sake of Allah, Allah Rabbul Izzat will find a way for his success. And it is equally true for every individual on individual basis as well. As an individual, if you undertake any project and if you face any challenges, so long the niyyah is clear, khalisatan liwajhillah, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Put full trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and move forward. You will find your way out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ma'al usri yusran, fa inna ma'al usri yusra. With difficulty comes ease, and with certainty, with difficulty comes ease. That is what we are required to believe. Having said this, where and how far does the work of sincere intention goes and how much it delivers? I want to relate to you an example of an institution, an academy, as it is an American Leadership Academy that we have here. Inshallah, soon we will have vibrant Islamic school where we will have a great graduates coming out of it who will be the future, indeed, leaders of America, produced right here and there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy and accept us for this cause. That is why from the very beginning I wanted to make this record straight. There is any foundation that is found on the sound intention is destined for success. It will happen. It will happen. So long that the intention is clear. So always make intention and intention khalisatan liwajhillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have said two things in this regard. One, you need to revisit and visit and revisit and visit again and again your intention for anything khair that you do. The best thing, as soon as you intend to do something, you need to ask, am I doing it as a ritual? Am I doing it because as a culture? Am I doing it because everybody is doing it? Am I doing it because we're supposed to? Then all of these will not have as much weight. And you need to ask them what really add value to the good deed that I'm about to do. Every single time when you undertake any good deed, you want to ask yourself that I'm doing it only for the pleasure of Allah and Allah alone. Not even for the law, for the pleasure of Allah. And when you do it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah is pleased, then He will reward you without any limits. But if you want to set a limit on certain expectations of reward in return for your good deed, then you're literally shortchanging yourself, because you're worshipping the one who's the creator and mighty and the malik of the dominion of the universe, who's capable of giving you not more than you could imagine. So the best thing for us to do for anything good that we do it for the pleasure of Allah and Allah alone, and let it be Allah's decision how much He wants to reward us. That is one secret. But Ummah, in generally speaking, are unaware of it, because of the reason never before in the history of Islam we had that many Muslims as we have today. Never before in the history of Islam Muslim was not as spread as we are spread today. Never before in the history of Islam Muslims have not had this much resources as we have today. It is equally true. Never before in the history of Islam Muslims have been not butchered and massacred, and the blood of Muslims has never been as cheap as it is today. Did you ever wonder? If it is the matter of resources, we have it. If it is the matter of number of people, we are. If it is the matter of acquiring the land across the globe in the larger portion, we do. But that's not what really adds value to a believer. What adds value to the believer is his or her relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that starts with the right intention. That you do anything and everything khalisatan lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first thing that we want to do. If you do make an intention to do something good, you want to check your intention, is it for Allah or not? Second, scholar says, while you're doing the act, be it is salah, be it is giving charity, be it is helping those who are in need, be it is educating the generation, whatever it is, in the process you revisit again your intention. Shaitan has very unique way of tempting with your intention, because if he cannot keep you from praying, then he will do something with your intention that you will be doing it for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by using that he will really cancel out your good deed. So in the middle of your act of good deed, you do want to reconnect again with your intention to ask yourself, are you still doing it for the pleasure of Allah or not? At times when you do something good, people tend to give you a compliment. They say, wow brother, wow sister, mashallah, you're doing really good. Had it not been you, we would never have done it. That is the deadly weapon to destroy your intention and reward. The minute you buy into it and start giving yourself credit and feeling arrogant about it, that is enough to burn that good deed that you do. So even at that moment, you say astaghfirullah and you connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, Ya Rabbi, even now I say, I'm doing it for your pleasure and your pleasure only. Third, in the interest of time, last but not the least, that is, after having completed the act of good deed, you check back again your intention, whether you did it for the sake of Allah or your self-glory, or recognition and appreciation. And you recommit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, Ya Rabbi, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be able to perform in this particular manner for your pleasure and your pleasure alone, and thank you for allowing me to finish with this ihsan. And now that I have completed, as going to put these good deeds in my record, I'd like for you to see it, saying that it was done intentionally only for the pleasure of Allah and Allah alone, and protected and guarded until the day that I meet you, Ya Allah. These are the steps, inshallah, when we adopt and practice in these initial stages of our institutions. Inshallah, the nusra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come in a way that you have never imagined and possible and expected. And this is the beauty of our religion throughout the history. And I see this institution is in the history in making, and soon inshallah, it will become a vibrant community. But what matters is the people who have gathered and supported in the early stages as an ansar, as supporters of this institution, will have the great share in it as long as it exists. So be the supporters, be the ansar of these institutions and masjid and organizations, where inshallah American leaderships will be producing the leaders that America will benefit and will become better place for everybody to do. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد ان سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القران المجيد بعد اعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا حبيبنا شفيعنا مولانا محمد عبد رسوله قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار والعياذ بالله. Very briefly, Sheikh Mustafa, mashallah, is a good friend of mine. I've known him for quite some time. He is one of the best individuals that I have come to know when it's come to the sincerity towards the deen and taqwa that we have and ikhlas that he has for khalisatan li wajhillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having blessed with such individuals in your surroundings, I urge you all to take full advantage of his presence and his knowledge and his wisdom and above all his ikhlas. He is very, very sincere person in this regard. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable you all to be the partners in this beautiful cause. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you success in this reward. Inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of us and our children and our progeny till the day of judgment for the advancement of this beautiful deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be successful in this life and the hereafter. Allahumma salli al-Islam wal-Muslimina fi kulli makan. Allahumma salli al-Islam wal-Muslimina fi kulli makan. اللهم انصر الاسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان خصوصا على غزه وفلسطين لا اله الا انت سبحانك انا كنا من الظالمين اللهم انا نسالك من خير ما سالك من نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك من نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وانت المستعان عليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوه الا بالله سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اقم الصلاه